I want to talk to you about podcast potential, and more importantly, I want to talk to you about a platform called Podcastle. So here's a synopsis I want you to pay attention to. So when you think about Podcastle, I want you to think about a platform that allows you to launch a podcast, to actually host it, to actually review everything, and to most importantly, to monetize your podcast. Okay. So think about a Podcastle as a SaaS tool for recording and editing podcast, and it's one of those things where you have a bountiful free version. In other words, you are able to have unlimited access to recording and editing. You have AI features, so artificial intelligence is really pretty strong when it comes to podcasting. So you have audio to text transcription and background noise removal. You have a tool that's perfect for pro podcasters, aspiring amateurs, and everyone in between. So this is kind of cool in terms of scalability, but also in terms of the audience here. So when you think about Podcastle, I want you to think about a tool that's great in terms of looking at all the functionalities, especially artificial intelligence. Let's talk about the pros and cons here. So the pros first, you have a revoiced AI voice clones, you have solid audio transcription, you have effective AI audio processing. You are able to edit audio from the like you can transfer from audio rather to text editor. So this is really good. So audio to text, and you have royalty free music and SFX. This is kind of cool in terms of giving some kind of background to your audio here. So those were the pros that you need to think about. What about the cons here? You have a very minimal video editing. You have some glitchy performance in terms of the tools, and there is no direct publishing to social media. Okay, so it's one of those things where you have to really ask yourself, is that important for you or not? Because overall, what you have to think about here is that Podcastle uses artificial intelligence to do a lot of things, to transcribe recordings, to create written episode summaries, to automate tedious editing tasks, to remove background noise, and most importantly, for revoice. Okay, so revoice really creates entire AI voices based on specific recordings of one's own voice, which can be used for text-to-speech purposes in audio projects. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. Let's talk about the specs you need to pay attention to here. So when you think about Podcastle, you have audio recording and editing basics. You have operational hiccups in some scenarios. You have artificial intelligence audio processing. You have transcription and editing audio from text. Let's first talk about the audio recording and editing basics. So to actually test Podcastle's audio recording and editing capabilities, you have to you can record a short public domain audiobook and some video tutorial overdubs, and also see if how the platform really responds to those sort of contests. Okay. So when recording audio or video, the files record locally to your own computer, so that internet glitches or dropouts, and they happen, shouldn't really mar the results. And then uploads the good thing is that you are able to upload the finished recordings to Podcastle's cloud, so that you can access and edit them from anywhere with a web browser. Fantastic. What about the operational hiccups? They happen all the time. If you've been in Podcastle for as long as we have been, which is more than 2 decades here, you understand there are some operational hiccups. It can come from voice, it can come from video, it can come from logistics, it can come from resources. Those things can happen, but Podcastle allows you to fix things before actually uploading the final product. So this is kind of cool. And what we love about Podcastle, I've said this before, the ability to have AI audio processing is really cool. So the AI-based audio processing is great in terms of helping you transcribe things a lot faster. So Podcastle offers a few main AI shortcuts for an audio clip or a group of clips, including auto leveling for creating a consistent volume level within a recording, and removing periods of silence longer than very brief pauses. So, this is really cool. And so what you want to do is you want to see which one really works for you. And so Podcastle Pro rather includes 25 hours a month of transcribing audio into English, Spanish, German, French, or Italian. So this is kind of important. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about Podcastle. This is a Podcastle review. In terms of the specs, you also have things like Revoice AI and text-to-speech projects. You have Revoice results. You have a video recording and a nascent video editing. You have media libraries and AI episode summaries, and you have Podcastle Pro. Podcastle Pro. One thing I want to say here is that when you think about the Revoice AI and text-to-speech projects, this is really good because Podcastle convert the text-to-speech projects, let you type or paste words into a text editor and convert them into spoken audio with 20 preset AI voices. You can export the audio and reopen it in a different project to edit it, or from an existing project, you can click the text or podcast button to open the text editor. This is really good. And Podcastle's AI generated voices sound fairly natural for the most part, but they did not handle most mid-sentence punctuation very well. And this led to a stunning delivery in our view. And so, but video recording and nascent video editing are pretty solid. You can really do that in Podcastle, not a problem. So for video projects, Podcastle can record the primary user's webcam, the primary user's screen, and invite a guest webcam. So you can record multi-person podcasts and meetings, solo videos, tutorials, including screen capture, and so on and so forth. The screen recording can capture a particular Chrome browser tab, any software window open on your computer, or the entire screen of any available display. So this is kind of cool. And so to include guests in a video recording, you can schedule the recording time and connect the whole thing to a Google Calendar event. And so adding guest email addresses will send them an invite, or you can just enter the studio spontaneously and invite someone to actually come by actually emailing them or messaging them. This is really good. So overall, we love the fact that you have a lot of capabilities here, and the media libraries and AI episode summaries are also great to actually spruce up your project. Podcastle provides a library of more than 7,000 to 10,000 royalty-free music tracks and sound effects that you can search and drag into your projects. So you can filter the music by many genres, from classical to synth wave, or by descriptors like calm, quirky, and suspenseful. So this is really good. And alternatively, you can upload your own music if you prefer. The video editor also has many thousands of photos and graphics from Unsplash to set as your video background image. Really, really fantastic. So overall, a fantastic platform. Let's talk about pricing here. So you can see on the screen here the pricing for a Podcastle as of the date of this show. So you can see that there is a quartet of prices. You have the basic, the free, the storyteller, the pro, and the business. In our view, it's better that you go with the pro. If you were to choose Podcastle, go with the pro, because the business is too expensive and the storyteller is too basic. Don't even mess up with the basic plan, because that's good to actually get to know Podcastle. But if you are for real, you want to go for a storyteller or a pro plan. So when we talk about I want to quickly go through the details here. So when we talk about the free is free. It is actually jam packed with recording and editing tools, plus 1 hour of transcription. So it's really 1 hour. And so you have multi-track recording for 10 remote guests. So if you are trying to scale your podcast, if you're trying to really, if you have multiple episodes, you want to go with you cannot go with the free. You might want to go with a storyteller or go with a pro. So when we talk about the storyteller, we're speaking about the like paying about $12 annually, not $12 monthly, billed annually. If you want to go from an annual billing to a monthly billing, you have to pay $15. So that's about you are saving like 25% to 30% when you switch to a yearly billing. So here you have premium tools. You have 10 hours of transcriptions. You have 8 hours of video recording. You also have a noise cancellation. You have lossless downloads. Fantastic. What about the Podcastle Pro? Here you are paying $23.99 per month when billed annually, and $29.99 per month when billed monthly. Okay, so here you have a whopping 25 hours of transcription and early access to new features, and you also have a revoice, an AI clone on your own voice, and you have a filler word detection, and so on and so forth. So basically, here you have much more. You have many more functionalities to really acquaint yourself with. And so this for the basic, the storyteller, and the pro. For the business, really, the business is really great if you have a large organization, or if you have a larger sort of podcast vision, then you want to contact Podcastle, and they'll go through your needs and they'll quote you accordingly. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about Podcastle. This is a Podcastle review. We want to know if this podcast hosting platform is really worth it. Let me give you a little bit about the process here. So the process you need to pay attention to. So getting started with Podcastle, it's really it's an important thing to think about. And so Podcastle is pretty straightforward, nothing a little bit complicated here. So what you want to do here is that you want to sign up with an email and password. You want to so what happens here is that Podcastle will send you some kind of notification to make sure that the email belongs to you, and you have to go through the process. It's pretty straightforward, okay? And please make sure that you choose a password. We choose an email that you are going to that you access frequently, because this will be like a work email or something similar, okay? And then what will happen here is that Podcast will direct you to a welcome page. So there is a questionnaire. So when you actually go to a welcome page, you are basically going to go through a series of surveys. A pretty strict survey. It will take you about 3 minutes, but Podcastle wants to know you a lot more. They want to know how you what kind of needs you have, and that will help them sort of tailor your audience. Not audience, your experience to your experience on the platform. So the questionnaire will revolve around your industry, will revolve around your experience, will revolve around your niche, will revolve around the kind of tools you use for your podcasting, and also ask you a few ancillary questions to sort of determine how to tailor once again your experience on the platform. So once you actually answer that sort of series of questions, you are going to click submit. And once you click submit, you will land on your dashboard and start your podcast adventure. So basically, so when you on your dashboard, you have all kinds of features. I'll speak about the features later on, but you have all kinds of capabilities, and those capabilities will help you actually scale your podcast over time. What we love about Podcastle is that scaling ability. So you don't have whether you have 1,000 downloads or you have 1 million downloads, you are able to have a tool that actually adapts to your needs. Not a problem. So this is really, really important from a scaling perspective, but also from a revenue generation perspective. What are the features you need to really pay attention to here? So basically, you have you are able to import files. So here you can upload various audio types. We're talking about MP3, talking about M4A, talking about WAV, talking about AIFF. So you can export as MP3, so that's for free users. So that's for importing files. You have recording capabilities also, so you have a sleek interface and auto download recordings. And the thing is that the quality, though, depends on your mic and the environment. You also have text to speech. So text to speech is really cool in terms of, especially if you want to have a large sort of podcast operation. So you have you're able to paste text and transform it into robotic voices. If that really is what you want your podcast experience to be, yeah, go ahead and do it. This is ideal for education, accessibility, and fiction podcast. You also have an interview, so you can conduct remote interviews on Chrome or mobile. You can separate audio tracks. You have that in the editor. You also have the editor. In other words, you are able to split, shorten, feed, adjust volume, and more. And you also have noise removal and royalty-free music library. So this is kind of cool. So, long story short, you have an all-in-one platform that allows you to actually do everything from A to Z. So, from a recording studio to an audio editor to what they call the magic dust. And so basically, you have a sprinkle of artificial intelligence to remove background noise and enhance speech. And in terms of the revoice, which seems to be a key criterion for Podcastle, you are able to edit audio by editing text or convert text to speech with lifelike voice skins. So this is kind of cool. So overall, when you think about Podcastle, think about a tool that allows you all the time to do the things you need to do to make sure that you are giving your audience what they came for. Okay, so you have a toolkit for podcast royalty. So you have exceptional audio and video recording on a web-based platform, multi-track editing and audio enhancement in just a few clicks. You have instant lossless downloads to hit the ground running, and the ability to actually record from to have records from anywhere, to record from anywhere, but actually save records from anywhere. So you can use a Podcastle as your personal podcast studio. So overall, bottom line here is that you do not need to have a team behind you to actually avail yourself of the limitless specs and functionalities that Podcastle really has. Speaking about specs, let's quickly dig a little deeper here when we talk about Podcastle. So, what is Podcastle used for, really? I mean, Podcastle is a platform designed for podcast creators and listeners. So, the platform offers a range of tools and features such as podcast recording, editing, transcription, and even text-to-speech conversion. Think about it. Okay, TTS, text-to-speech conversion. So, Podcastle really simplifies the podcast production process and helps creators deliver high quality content to the audience. So the question is it good for you? Yes, definitely. Podcastle is legit. It is secure. It is really worth it. In terms of pricing, I mean, we think that it is reasonably priced. So you're speaking about 13 to 15 bucks a month. It's totally reasonable. So it is a great tool for podcast creators because it really, when you think about the easy to use interface and the comprehensive suite of features that you have with a Podcastle, the UX and UI make the tool really commendable. Okay, it's AI-driven transcription and TTS capabilities, setting apart from other podcasting platforms, making it an excellent choice for those looking to streamline their podcast production process. So if you are in that category, you will love Podcastle. And now, is Podcastle an app? The platform is not an app. No, it is a web-based platform, which means you can access it through a web browser on your computer or mobile device. While it doesn't have a dedicated mobile app as of now, its responsive design makes it easy to use on various devices. So whether you have a tablet, whether you have a mobile phone, I mean, whatever you have, a smartphone, a tablet, or whatever, you will enjoy Podcastle. And what we love about Podcastle is that you basically have an all-in-one. This is what it is. You have an all-in-one, and it is primarily a podcast recording and editing platform. While it doesn't provide podcast hosting services, it allows you to easily export your finished podcast episodes to your preferred hosting platform. So in terms of scalability, I think I spoke about that earlier. In terms of scalability, that's really good, okay? And you are able to transcribe your podcast through Podcastle easily as well. So transcribing your podcast through Podcastle can offer several benefits, such as making your content more accessible to a broader audience, improving SEO, and providing an additional resource for your listeners. Okay, so Podcastle's AI-driven transcription feature can help you quickly and accurately transcribe your podcast episodes. This is really fantastic. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Let's quickly do a recap here. So in today's conversation, I spoke to you about Podcastle, and I gave you the synopsis, the specs, the pricing, the process, the features, and finally, another specs around and also the verdict. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.